Welcome to my presentation. I'm Moody J. Peter from St. Paul's University, Kenya. Welcome to my topic on social cultural beliefs and practices inhibiting behavior change among the Bakhayo men in the era of HIV and AIDS, a case of Nambale Division, Busia County. My outline is introduction, background information, research, methodology, results, discussion, and conclusion. Introduction. HIV epidemic is a complex and dynamic in a number of factors can impact how prevalence rises and falls, including new infections, mortality due to HIV-related illness, and availability of care and treatment. In sub-Saharan Africa, sexual activity appears to be driven largely by sociocultural beliefs and practices, and risk-taking sexual behavior, which is usually tolerated in some contexts. As Kenya endeavors to be a developed industrial nation by 2030, the mystery of HIV and AIDS ought to be addressed in order to effectively deal with the critical development issues such as manpower resources, without which development will be compromised. HIV infection is a communicable disease. The study holds a view that gender and sexuality must be understood as constructed by a complex interplay of social, cultural, and economic forces that determine the distribution of power as far as HIV and AIDS is concerned. The imbalance of power between women and men in gender relationship curtails women's sexual autonomy and expands male sexual freedom, thereby increasing both genders' risk and vulnerability to the epidemic. Research methodology. The study adopted descriptive case study. Purposive sample technique was recommended for this study. Men aged between 18 to 55 years constituted a significant proportion of the sample. To achieve the maximum level of precision, data obtained was subjected to regular cross-checking, inspection, and scrutiny to ensure accuracy, relevancy, completeness, consistency, and uniformity. Results. Majority of the respondents reported to have gone through formal education. We can conclude that literacy level is high, but some have lapsed into illiteracy due to ignorance and lack of motivation from leaders. When discussing sex, 5.8% of the respondents reported that it is their partners who usually initiates the discussion. Then another 23.1% reported that they both initiates the discussion, while 68.1% usually initiate the discussion themselves, whereby 2.9% of the respondents did not answer who usually initiates the discussion. This is the unmarried. Among those who usually discuss sex with their partners, 31.9% do have conflicts when discussing sex, and 65.2% do not have conflicts when discussing sex, whereas 2 respondents declined to respond to the questions. This means that 2% of women go through sexual violence, if not rape. It was also found out that 18.8% of respondents believe that it is the female who should dictate when to have sex. 95% believe that it is the men who should dictate when to have sex, and another 23% believe that both partners should decide when to have sex. However, there is no significant relationship between marital status and the belief of who should dictate when to have sex. Discussion. During the group and clan elders focus group discussion, it was revealed that majority of men do not want to use condom due to a number of reasons such as sexual suspicion, don't want to control birth, religious beliefs, and also it will portray that they engage in extramarital affairs. Men do not seek for treatment from health institution when infected by STI, but prefer local treatment, and this makes them vulnerable to HIV/AIDS infection. From the FGD held, the participants reported that some of the reasons why HIV has become a major challenge to the communities because of the consistent and continuous cross-border transaction to trade. Conclusion: findings of this study have confirmed that sexuality and sexual behavior in particular is not just a biological, but is also a social construct. The social function of sex demonstrated by 5 different cultural sexual practices are sex as procreation, pleasure, relations, family, property, religion, and healing. The issue of cultural context and the patriarchy, as well as their implication for HIV and AIDS, has received little attention in amongst Bakhayo. Gender inequality was identified as a key feature of HIV/AIDS in a ballot vision, in spite of national intervention strategy. Thank you for listening.